Hello and welcome. Today I'm going to walk you through how InstantAccept works with QuickBooks Financial. The supported versions are QuickBooks Pro, Premier, and Enterprise from 2006 to current. Let's go ahead and get started. InstantAccept can work one of two ways with these versions, and that's inside of your QuickBooks or outside of your QuickBooks. First thing is you can go ahead and log in. You can have InstantAccept save your login information, or you can have it automatically log in next time you open your QuickBooks. Once we get logged in, there's two buttons here that are really affected by InstantAccept. Other than that, the other features and functionalities inside of your QuickBooks will remain the same. Those two buttons are Receive Payments and Create Sales Receipts. So I'm going to go ahead and open up my Receive Payment and walk you through that. So I already created an invoice for my customer, Chris Baker, and I'm going to take payment on this. I'm going to put in my amount, and I'm going to choose my payment method. This is all I'm going to put in on this screen. I'm going to go ahead and save and close, and this is where InstantAccept takes over that payment method. This is where we can swipe or key in our transaction information. Once we get all of our information put in, down at the bottom here, if we have our AVS turned on, we would have to fill out these fields. Otherwise, you can leave them blank. That is an optional service that we have. You can save the card information for later use. If you choose to do that, you just check off this box right here, and next time you come into Chris Baker's account, InstantAccept would populate this, but you would only be able to see the last 4 digits of the card number because we are PCI compliant. From here, you click Save. It asks you if it's a card present transaction. You click yes or no. This is our payment screen. We're able to edit or delete this payment at this time if the customer has any changes. Otherwise, you go down and you click Process. Once you get your 3 green check marks at the top here, that means you are successfully processed. If you wanted to email the receipt, you can email the receipt from right here. You're going to be prompted for that. It's going to auto-generate the email that you have on file for the customer. Otherwise, you can edit it from here as well. If they don't want an emailed receipt and they prefer a hard copy, you can cancel out of here and print the receipt from right here as well. Once you close out, you're back inside of your QuickBooks. The sales receipt portion works pretty much the same. The main difference between invoicing and sales receipts is the invoices you have about 60 to 90 days to pay those off, whereas the sales receipt is the customer standing in front of you and they want to go ahead and make a payment for whatever is in their hand at that time. So I'm just going to walk through sales receipt as well. I'm going to grab one of my customers here. I'm going to choose one of these items, and I'm going to choose my payment method all on one screen. This is all I have to put on this screen. Again, I just go down and click Save and Close, and this is where InstantAccept pops up. Again, I can swipe or key in my information. If AVS is turned on, I would add that information in here. If I wanted to save this card information for later use, I can save that right here. Again, you're only able to see the last 4 digits of the card number when you come back into this account. You click Save. It asks if it's a card present transaction, yes or no. From here, you can edit or delete or process this payment. Once you process, up at the top here, you can see we have our 3 green check marks. You're prompted to email a receipt. It's going to generate the email that is on file for the customer you've chosen. Otherwise, you can edit it here or cancel out and print a hard copy. Close out and you're back in your QuickBooks. Now I'm going to pull up that invoice that we received payment on and show you that InstantAccept has marked it as paid. So as you can see, that paid stamp is on there. Now if that transaction were to decline or something along those lines, then this invoice would have not been marked as paid. It would have remained an open invoice inside of your QuickBooks. And that's essentially how InstantAccept works when you're working within QuickBooks. Now what I'd like to do is I would like to show you our piece that works outside of QuickBooks. Our reason for creating it was not only to protect the QuickBooks users, basically an owner of a company could keep their employees outside of their QuickBooks, yet they could still make transactions and take payments. But it's also for a matter of, we have so many customers out there that say, my employee messes up my QuickBooks. It's not that I don't trust them, or it's not that I don't have the user preferences set up. It's just every time they come in to my QuickBooks, something is messed up. So this is basically a safe place for them to work. So I'm going to exit out of my QuickBooks and open up that desktop app. So once I get this open, it's going to prompt me to log in. And as I log in, you'll see this little QuickBooks loading sign right here. Basically what it's doing is pulling in pieces of my company file. So there's no rekeying involved for this piece. All of my customers, items, pricing, unpaid invoices, so on and so forth are going to show up inside of this desktop application. So I'm going to give you a high-level overview of what each button does here. First of all, the admin of the account, the owner of the company, can enable and disable some of these features like the dashboard, sales receipt, void and refund, unpaid invoices. So those all can be disabled if the owner of the company does not want the employee to access that here. The dashboard is basically just a bar graph or a line graph. You can choose a specific date range and you can go ahead and pull that up, and it just gives you a little graph of what the credit card transactions would be for that time. Sales is the sales receipt. When I pull this up, it works just like it does in QuickBooks. You can choose your items, you can go ahead and pay that sales receipt right after you save it here. This transaction button basically just pulls up a list of transactions for the time period selected, and you can reprint or re-email any receipts all day long inside of here. The Customers tab basically pulls all of my customer information from my QuickBooks. I can add a customer, I can edit a customer, and anything I do in here again is going to show up in my closed QuickBooks in real time. Void and refund is as simple as that. It's an easy place to void and refund any transactions. You can be as broad as it happened sometime last week, or you can narrow down your search by adding the customer name and or the last 4 digits of the card number. Of course, the more information you put in here, the more narrowed your search will be to find that transaction. Finally, on the left-hand side here, we have the unpaid invoices. This is going to generate all of my open invoices inside of my QuickBooks. So as you can see, I have a few open invoices here. I can add an invoice up here. Again, that works just like it would work in QuickBooks. You add your customer, add your items, and save that invoice. I can choose an invoice and pay the invoice from here. Again, if you pay the invoice successfully, it would be marked as paid inside of your QuickBooks. I can email the invoice. If I email the invoice, that includes a pay link on that email so the customer can pay from the comfort of their own home. And finally, I can batch process the invoices. So let's say I had 10 customers call up and they said, you know, go ahead and pay off my invoice, and I just wanted to do it all at once. I could do that right here. The easiest way is if you do have those cards on file for them, because then all you do is verify the amount that you want to pay on those invoices and press process, and they all process at once. Over on the right hand side here, you can see we have this update button. It's simply just to do updates. If you're prompted to update InstantAccept and you don't want to at that time, whatever the case may be, you can come back in here at any point in time and update. Gateway Sync is a feature we added inside of here. Basically, it's for if you wanted to create maybe an online store and you added a shopping cart to that store, InstantAccept is connected to a gateway. As long as that shopping cart is connected to the same gateway that InstantAccept is connected to, we can pull all those transactions back into your QuickBooks. All we would do is simply choose the date range and then add the transactions to an existing invoice, or add those transactions to a new created invoice that you can do inside of here. And you would import those, and you could choose the account that they showed up in as well. The Settings tabs is where you can enable and disable different features. So if you're not processing ACH through InstantAccept, you definitely don't want it popping up every time you try to mark a check as paid inside of your QuickBooks. The Number Generation tab is basically a reference number. Some people like to use the InstantAccept reference numbers when they switch over so they know where it came from. As well as the email message, this is where you can edit your template, so it's a little bit more branded like your company, sounds a little bit more like you guys. This is the email that goes out with that invoice. The About tab just tells you the version number you're using. The Help tab is going to generate a user's guide and an index that you can thumb through to easily look at the different things that you can do with InstantAccept. It's just an easy place to find that, and you can print the user's guide from there as well. And up here at the top, we have our profile. Of course, you want the merchant information filled out right here. But then over on our right-hand side, you can change the receipt print logo, which is also the logo that goes out on those emailed invoices. So it kind of gives you an option to brand out the software a little bit and make it more like your company. That concludes our demo today for the financial software. Again, we support QuickBooks Pro, Premier, and Enterprise from 2006 to current. Thank you for your time today, and I look forward to working with you guys.